All right, just got done on a hard top video for a TJ. I'm about to do a Jeepster here in a second. There's a YJ one already posted. If you're just looking for information, just trying to learn a little bit more about a Jeep that you're interested in or that you own. These are usually product videos, but we try to do just a little bit more in our videos to kind of educate as we go and whatnot. So I'm going to show you this one. This isn't a Jeepster that the top came from, but it is pretty much the same thing. This is actually a really nice tub for what it is. It's got a couple blemishes, but overall is pretty clean. And then the frame has been monkeyed with, but I think the frame we just got in on the other one is good. So we'll have a Jeepster frame. We have two tubs. The other one's got some issues in the back, but by and large. So anyway, showing you this, but I got a couple dinged up fenders, but no major rust in them, although that one's pretty kinked there. This one actually in really good shape. And then this windshield frame is really weird. It's original, but they cut it to make it fold down, which I get it. It's cool concept. We don't really mess with stuff like that. So if you do, and you buy something from us, I'll throw that in for you. If you want a factory original frame, I have one of those at my other location in Denver. I have a set of doors that we just got. And what else do we got? I think I might have a hood. Well, I have that hood. That one's a little dinged up. But I might have a grill too. So we should have quite a few parts. And then we've taken the opportunity. I have a really good engine builder that's been working for me for a few years. And we're taking the opportunity to kind of go after these Buick motors that have all of a sudden been extremely hard to find, not only just parts on. So if you need a Buick motor, we're rebuilding one for a customer right now, but I think we got another good core we can rebuild. So that potentially could be available. We usually do deposits before we build anything like that, just because our cash flow is based off of what's in line with money. So because we're a real busy yard, we do a couple hundred phone calls a day in between everything else we're doing. So I got a really clean CJ5 tub that I'm going to be putting up here maybe tonight if the weather or the lighting permits. But otherwise, let's go over this guy. So I'm not going to go too much into this, but I will talk about a couple cool things. There's the motor, and this should be a good core. We don't know, it might even be a runner, but we'll open it up and take a look. This is extremely rare. Not only the intake, but the fact that it still has somewhat of the sticker on it. We're setting these things up with power steering and power, and sometimes even power brakes. This one obviously power brakes. And most of the time we're using these on the CJ stuff, but if you're interested in a Jeepster and doing one or the other on that, or CJ5 of the 70 to 75 era, or even earlier, we got some neat things that we're going to actually start putting out ourselves here in the next few months. But for now, what you see here is kind of what we have. So we got the motor. This has got a turbo 400 transmission automatic. This will probably, it was said it was good. This thing was running a few years ago, but we have an automatic guy. Probably we'll have him go through that because it's such a rare transmission to have. So that probably won't happen for a few weeks. So if you happen to catch this and are looking for an automatic, by all means. Now, there's something else special here. This is a twin stick transfer case. That's pretty rare for this particular one, especially with the levers this thing has on it. So there's some goodies under here that was a little bit more unique. We got the e-brake cable. Those are hard to find. And then this tub is usable. It's got good, both sides are a little weak on this side, but the driver's side's super clean. The cowl's okay. Windshield frame is probably usable on this one. It's got a little bit of rust down there, or a hole down there, but by and large, and I have another one of those. So, and I know, like I say in all my videos, the intention of this video is for this hard top, so bear with me because I have a customer already lined up for this thing if we get final approval, which is really what this video is about. But I do want to kind of illustrate, because I'm running low on time these next few days with some of the trips I'm taking. So, and this is a Dana 30 up front, like they normally would be, but it's an open knuckle. That would be somewhat of an upgrade. I don't know the gear ratio on these yet. Should have the flange 44 centered in the back. So, okay, that's the lowdown on pretty much everything there. Now, this top. We initially were going after a really clean, you know, grade A, and obviously that's easier said than done when it comes to Jeepster hardtops. I don't know if I said this or not, but my name is Jeremy. It's Jeeps Unlimited, partsbreakers.com, 303-666-9020. I usually say that in the beginning, but I think I got carried away. I'm starting to get a little chilly out here, so I'll start losing my train of thought. But anyway, so we originally went after, you know, what we could find basically. And we found this one with this Jeep, and actually we bought a motor from this guy a while back, and that kind of went south, so he owed me a favor, and went down and picked this guy up and a few other things from him. So originally we thought we were going to get this top and it was going to be kind of like a low C grade, and that's obviously relative because tops are hard enough to find that any top can be, you know, depending. So I want to say a few things on it, and really, again, this is, like I said, a final approval video. And if it doesn't work for the customer in mind, you know, it doesn't work. It'll be posted. I'll use this video to do that, and it is what it is. We just want to make sure that when it shows up at somebody's door, just like when we're selling a tub or a frame, they've seen this top as best as they could, as if they were kind of standing right next to me. And that's why I'm doing this. So you're going to see it up close and personable here in a second. But what we learned when we picked this top up is it actually was a lot better shape than the photos initially showed. There's a little bit of Bondo in it from, I think, where they just leveled it out. But we thought it had been like crushed probably at one time, because that's what it looked like in the photos. But that's definitely not the case. The rain gutter has got to have a little bit of just surface rust in the areas here, and a little bent through here. This is where you start seeing a lot of this filler stuff. And again, my guess is that these had more or less dings on it. When I say dings, I'm talking about, you know, decent, you know, not hail damage, but something like that. Just, it could be just from taking it on and off. It's hard to say, because if you look at the top, the thing is almost perfect. It clearly needs a paint job. And then the other thing is too, and they did this a lot on the 70s Jeep CJs, where they would get them in and you could kind of see the waviness of them from the dealer. So the dealerships would just send them directly to a body shop, and they like I said, they call it leveling. They would just level it out. So that could be what this one is. I'm going to get inside of it and show you here, because there's not hardly anything on this side. So it definitely could have had some sort of repair done on that side, and they leveled it out, or it could have been out of the factory. And the reason I say that is because when I looked underside, it didn't have like a you know, aha moment where you're like, oh, that's probably what happened. There wasn't really that. I was extremely surprised when I picked this thing up on how clean this top is, especially after a few years of selling these and only having a few of them in. So that's the story on this top. There's no back glass, there's no hatch, there's a whole system you could, it kind of looks like a CJ. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, a CJ glass works on it, and we intended to find that, and I haven't been able to. We haven't looked real hard, so we'll keep that in mind. But as of right now, this top is going to be sold as is, and then if we find that later, we can tack that on, or if the customer does go through with this, get that to them. But as of right now, I'm just advertising it as it sits. Okay, so, and once again, let me get you a little bit here, and then I'm going to show you the inside of it, so you can kind of see here how thin this stuff is. It's almost like thick. It's almost like paint. And it really looks, again, from the photo we had, worse than it was. There's a little bit, maybe here, but it's just hard to say if they weren't just trying to get it, you know, symmetrically perfect and use just a little bit more on the side. But anyway, so the seams down here, obviously we're going to want to get all this stuff cleaned up, but because it is a steel top, at the end of the day, you don't want to let it sit like that forever. So, but look at here, okay? So definitely has, you know, maybe a little bit of damage was up in this corner, and then maybe that they did, and it's hard, you know, I always just speculate here, but they filled this in and had to level it all the way back, because there's nothing else back here that's been pushed in or dings or damaged or anything like that. It's actually really clean all the way through. All right. And there's a little hole right there. And they may have had something mounted up there, a CB or something at one time. So probably want to get that patched. And then the original, I don't know, this cardboard they used up through here or what this stuff is, but this is still up in these. Probably to sound dampen it a little bit from these ridges. So this one's hanging a little bit lower than that one over there. So we'd want to probably push that back up in, bend that back up in there. And it doesn't look like they tacked these, so I don't know if that could be done. If you pull these out, or if this ribbing is just supposed to float like this. I'm not really sure. Or if the top itself needs to be pushed down and tacked back. It's kind of hard to say. There's a couple screws on that one there. That looks like it was more or less maybe an insulation they had up here. I'm guessing there was some kind of headliner. But this is a little bit before my time as far as what might have been on the inside. And then there's your front, I guess you call it a bulkhead through there. And we have some of the hardware for it, which we'll send along with it. So I'd say in the shape, from how I grade everything else, I would easily give this a B. And if it had that back window in it, a low A. Just because again, it comes to sometimes just the difficulty of finding stuff. So anyway, the glass is good, there's no cracks in it, solid panes. And if there's anything I missed on it, or maybe you know these better than I do, and there's an area that you need to look at, feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to do that. Okay. And if you're interested in any body parts, this one I would be more apt to cutting because it's already missing some pieces, although even something like this with the front of it being decent, Midwest, East Coast, this would still be a value, somewhat of a sellable tub. So, all right, again, 303-666-9020, partsbreakers.com. I'm gonna do one more tub video tonight, the 72, 75 coming up. And then we're gonna fire these off, and then I'm gonna probably scoot out to Idaho here in a few days. So happen to be on my route and need some parts. Doesn't have to be these parts. Give us a holler. We'll get you taken care of. 303-666-9020, partsbreakers.com. Thanks a lot.